Hi, I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative, cat mom, and aspiring tennis club star, closing out my 20s in bold Alyssa Fronk style. In January, I asked loved ones to suggest bucket list ideas to check off before I turn the big 3-0. For the next year, I'm checking off 29 bucket list submissions and documenting it all for the memories, proof, and for whoever needs a push to get out of their comfort zone. This project is my attempt to make the most of my 20s, to challenge myself, and to honor a transformative decade. Thanks for tagging along on this random yet thrilling journey. Stay tuned.
Do not miss the opportunity!
The list will not disappoint. Hey there, I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative, cat mom, and tennis menace closing out my 20s by attempting 29 activities I've never done before. This is the Bucket List project. Going to a concert alone was off the table for years. Thanks, anxiety. So when this challenge presented itself, I knew it was time to overcome my mental block. Days later, my email pinged. Maggie Rogers at Radio City. Divine timing. On February 15th, I threw on a fun outfit, slipped on my signature metallic boots, and hit the town. Upon arrival, I took in the iconic marquee lighting. I was excited and eager to give this solo concert thing a try. Which brings me to the first perk of this experience. Better seat selections. Your girl was shocked by how good the setup was. Finding multiple front orchestra seats for the same price would have been tough. The flexibility was a gift in of itself. The second experience highlight, befriending the guy sitting next to me. This is Scott. Turns out he goes to concerts all the time and it's his thing. I told him about my project and he shared about his favorite concert memories. This friendly interaction likely wouldn't have happened had there been a plus one. Up until this night, I was convinced going to a concert solo wouldn't be as much fun and make me feel lonely. However, I was too busy screaming her lyrics and dancing to feel self-conscious. I only felt weird when I was trying to record myself. Can't you tell? But it's okay. I didn't want to be so wrapped up in my quest for content that I disengaged from the experience. Maggie and her band were electric. She surprised us with David Byrne, who happens to be my seat buddy Scott's hero. Naturally, he lost his mind. I was happy for him. It was a magical night, and I'm glad I spent it with one of my all-time favorite artists. Getting outside of your comfort zone is a good thing.
I'm feeling exhilarated, feeling energized.
The Boots and I headed back to Brooklyn, high off of music dopamine and thrilled to kick off my bucket list. More to come. Welcome back. I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative, cat mom, and tennis menace, closing out my 20s by checking off 29 things I've never done before. This is the Bucket List project. Sorry, Mom, but yes, I dyed my hair blue. And despite electric blue being my favorite color, I initially wasn't going to add this one to the bucket list, but I caught myself. The whole ethos of this project is to try new things. It's just hair dye. If I hate it, I'll change it back. It's not that deep. Cut to me booking an appointment with my beloved hairdresser, Okima. She's been taking care of this mop for 5 years and has become a dear friend of mine. Dropping her business info in the comments, and if y'all book with her, I better hear you're tipping generously. I caught Okima up on the project concept and my wish for blue hair. She was thrilled for me to change it up for once, LOL. Due to hair length, upkeep difficulties, and cost, we agreed all over blue wasn't the move. Maybe I'll go full blue one day, but not during peak sweaty season. I hold the right to modify list challenges when necessary. Reveal in 3, 2, 1, BAM! And just like that, I stepped into my new identity of being a blue-haired binge. Okima nailed the color and subtleness I wanted. And after a month, I was back in her chair for round 2. This time, to really commit and take it to the next level. Reveal in 3, 2, 1, BAM! Part 2. Not gonna lie, the change felt drastic at first, but within hours I was feeling peak confident, cool, and edgy. Shout out to whoever pitched this idea. You kicked off an exciting hair era for your girl. Thanks for tuning into the Bucket List. This project is officially kicking into high gear to meet the deadline. Hey, I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative, cat mom, and self-proclaimed tennis menace, closing out my 20s by attempting 29 random activities I've never done before. Welcome back to my bucket list series. Yeah, no, sorry. Zero interest in skydiving, but I was up for a thrill-based activity. Here's how it went down. This past spring, I reunited with my old study abroad friends in Chamonix, France. It's the perfect place to try an extreme sport, and I finally had the guts to do it. Cut to me heading to Mount Brevant with fellow adventure folk bright and early. I met my paragliding instructor, Tom, and we headed up. While he unpacked the parachute, I watched this guy do what I was minutes away from doing myself. Before I knew it, Tom strapped me in and handed me a GoPro.
From Chamonix, Mount Brevant, about to go paragliding. You?
Okay, Alyssa, ready to run? 1, 2, 3, run!
Keep, a little faster if you can.
Okay, it's done, you can stop.
I was shocked by how smooth the ride was. No dropping, no jerking, just the wind gently lulling me over the French Alps as I held on for dear life. And then Tom asked if I wanted to try aerobatics. I said yes. At one point, Tom let me take the brake handles and steer us around the sky. I was nervy, but it was so cool. Time went by in a blink. We descended towards the landing field where I crushed the landing.
first impression?
I survived.
Yeah.
Really fun. Thank you so much for a great day.
Yeah.
To those who pitched skydiving, I hope this satisfied your desire to see me airborne. It was one hell of a time. On this edition of the Bucket List. New here? Let me catch you up. I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative closing out my 20s by completing 29 things I've never done before that range from dyeing my hair blue to jumping off the side of a mountain. Welcome back to my Bucket List series. Initially, I was stumped on how to honor kid lists, so I released the pressure to plan and let inspiration strike authentically. Cut to a friend inviting me to see the Jonas Brothers, a boy band that turned my 11-year-old girl world upside down and whose faces decorated my bedroom wall much too long. And yet, I had never seen the Joe Bros live. Bingo. Here's how the historic moment went down. On August 12th, the boys kicked off 5 albums, one night the world tour. How lucky was I to catch the opening night? We knew it would be fun, but I didn't expect the emotional surge unleashed. Oh no, no tears. Just feral excitement released after years of sideline fandom. Kidless, although excited, would have been uncomfortable dancing and singing in public. But adultless has grown to be a secure, confident woman. Evening highlights were Love Bug, my favorite Joe Bro song, When You Look Me in the Eyes, which threw me right back to 8th grade singing with classmates on a field trip. Obviously burning up, Big Rob made a surprise appearance, and the cherry on top for my inner child, buying merch. I splurged on a specialty Yankee Stadium Joe Bro tee. If I could travel back in time and tell 11-year-old me I saw the Jonas Brothers with friends in New York City where I now live, bought merch and concessions, she would think we are the coolest woman alive. As cheesy as it sounds, I felt a piece of my inner child heal for treating myself to experiences I once wasn't able to have, and from the satisfaction of a beautiful life I've been so fortunate to create. Can you guess what's next? When the gays summon you to Fire Island, you go. Welcome back to my Bucket List series. I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative. From now until my 30th, I'm completing a bucket list. So far, it's been wild, thanks to this experience. In July, my lifelong friend rented a spacious Pines house for his birthday and invited a whole gaggle of friends to join. Fire Island Pines is a special place, a beautiful cornfield-esque party island, and I had the honor of seeing how invaluable this safe, inclusive space is. Traveling to Fire Island is half the fun. An Uber, train ride, bus shuttle, ferry ride, and trek by foot finally got me there. I dropped my bags and the fun began. We headed to Low Tea where I observed and partook in the culture. Pines Punch was the most potent foul drink I've ever had. I ordered 2. We rallied at a different bar before heading home for a Sunday family dinner. Post dinner, we were blessed with a gorgeous rainstorm on our trek to Show Tune Sundays. There were Celine ballads, Broadway moments. I even caught a Phantom of the Opera number. It felt like a talent show at an adult summer camp party, in the best way. A few hours later, we hit another bar. Very cool to have a dance floor alone with your friend group. Half the group opted for round 3, and I went home with the early crowd. The next morning brought a delicious, perfect pool day. Floaties, snacks, jello shots, taro, and other goodies. Having private pool access in the NYC area, damn luxury. I signaled my allyship to the guys with this tasteful one piece. Eventually, we made our way over to the beach. It was beautiful. A gorgeous rooftop dinner with a toast to the birthday boy later. I called my time on Fire Island. Your girl was beat and scared to keep up for another day. Friendly waves wished us safe travels on this stunning sunset ride home. My heart was full. I survived 29 hours on Fire Island. How did my end of 20s passion project land me in a medical moon boot? Let's take it from the top. Hi, I'm Alyssa, a Brooklyn-based creative on a mission to complete 29 activities I've never attempted before my 30th. Not all quests have gone according to plan, but that's how the best stories happen. Break rooms are a fairly new phenomenon where people go to relieve stress, emotions, and or have fun by smashing junk. While visiting North Carolina, I invited my friend Brooke to see what all the rage is about. We rolled up to Charlotte's The House of Purge, located in a deliciously eerie warehouse strip. While getting the rundown, we marveled at the release wall, which shared motivating factors for previous visits. Entering the break room was a jolt to the system. Remnants of monitors, printers, beer bottles, mugs, and so on smashed to itty-bitty smithereens, a wall full of bats, a slightly battered car, and items awaiting their final fate. The vibes were weird, but it only enhanced the experience. Funny enough, I didn't feel fueled by rage or anger. It was definitely a satisfying way to relieve stress, though. Unfortunately, my foolery got the best of me. While attempting to run, jump off a wall, spin around, and smash a bottle while airborne, I grotesquely rolled my ankle.
I'm partially caught it on video.
Our smash party was over. The irony of leaving in far worse shape than how I arrived is not lost on me. Cut to me explaining to medical professionals how I injured myself trying to parkour at a break room. I found the experience humbling. Bad news, I sprained my ankle and I'm stuck in a boot for a month. Good news, I checked off another experience with a dear friend while generously inviting the internet to laugh with me. Despite the pain and inconvenience, this bucket list challenge has been amusing. Break rooms get a thumbs up from me. Nothing says ready for my 30s like hosting an intimate dinner party at your home. Am I right? I'm Alyssa, and welcome back to my Bucket List series. On a crisp October Saturday night in Brooklyn, I pulled off the solo mission of throwing my first home-cooked full-course sit-down dinner party for 7 in a New York City apartment. I have a natural love for curating experiences, and better yet, sharing these experiences with loved ones. This was my Olympics. First things first, the menu. I wanted a crowd pleaser, a cuisine most people love and one I feel comfortably good at cooking. Bread, olive, Caesar salad, Parmesan asparagus, meatballs, and spicy vodka pasta were served. The chef's kiss to my darling guests. A layered lemon cake. Not only did it turn out amazing, moist, chilled, tangy, sweet frosting, but it allowed me to buy a cake decorating stand, which was a damn thrill to use. My top priorities for the dining setup were comfort and style. The last thing I wanted was for guests to feel like they were smushed inside a one-bedroom. After Tetris level rearranging, a few layered tablecloths, placemats, dramatic candlestick holders, and voila! A guest even called the table sexy. Timing was my biggest challenge of the evening. Coordinating all cooked dishes to be warm and ready at the same time? Frickin' hell. I messed up the pasta to sauce ratio, the asparagus wasn't crispy enough, but my guests ate plenty and were generous with compliments, so I'll take that as a win. Which leads me to the guest list. The vision was to have a mix of people, all kind, open-minded, and sociable. Truth be told, it flew by in a blink for me, but I was happy to treat my friends to a meal and challenge myself to a wholesome experience. And if my 30s bring more dinner parties, count me in. On this edition of Bucket List, I explored my ancestry, which was... Let's take it from the top. Weeks ago, I cracked open a 23andMe DNA collector kit, hoping to discover the roots of my ancestry. Info on my background has been fairly limited and all by word of mouth. In the spirit of an explorative 29th year, Bucket List felt like the perfect opportunity to uncover the secrets stored in my DNA. Science never lies.
My DNA test results are ready. To my New York friends who think I'm Jewish, we're about to find out.
I called my sister for emotional support.
Sister! These are my DNA test results from 23andMe. Let's dig on in. Oh! Your ancestry is 53% French and German.
Okay.
A hit from Germany is a place called Bavaria, Germany. I've never heard of that.
Bavaria? I've heard of Bavaria, like
You
Bavarian cream. Like
what? I come from the place where Bavarian cream was invented. I'm emotional.
Bavaria is the largest German state. Munich is in Bavaria.
45.4% British and Irish.
I know from mom, she's always talked about Irish.
0% Ashkenazi Jew, and then 1.6 broadly Northwestern European. That settles it. I'm 100% European.
Are you surprised?
No.
What else would you be?
I couldn't be whiter. What a roller coaster. Very German, British, and Irish.
This has been fun.
This has been so fun.
Thanks for keeping up with my Bucket List series. Next up... Hi, hello, we are back. Picking up from last week where I unlocked the secrets of my ancestry.
I'm emotional.
Now I'm ready to share about the next feat on my list, trying archery for the first time. So, I recently wandered out of the city, more on that later, to the Northeast, where I spontaneously took an archery class and accidentally showed up looking like Katniss Everdeen herself because I thought it would be outside for some reason and I layered. Oops. After getting the rundown on the terminology, rules, and form, I whipped out the old tripod for y'all to join the journey. It was awkward, tense, a little frustrating, and then oddly satisfying. Challenging. Exciting. Fun. Yeah, even fun. And get this, I was hitting the target a lot. Your girl didn't even miss once. The instructor shared my grouping was good, and I picked it up quickly, with a hint of surprise in his tone. I was too, Boy Scout Ethan. I was too. All right, now watch me tear up this target. Impressed? Well, did I mention I got 4 bullseyes? Not bad for a girl with no talent. I like to think this activity really connected me to my Neanderthal ancestors. Honestly, I would do this again. If any friends want to check out the archery spots in NYC, send correspondence. Down to arch for fun, but no, this will not become my new hobby, please. I already play tennis, I don't want to be insufferable, no offense to anyone. Back to my editing cave I go to share the next great adventure on my Bucket List series. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the series where I attempt 29 activities before I turn 30. In honor of hitting double digits on the list, I had to go big. Yup, mama got her first tattoo. I've always been positive neutral about tattoos, but much too indecisive for one of my own. Until I received multiple get a tattoo pitches for this series. After months of mulling, inspiration struck. A sweet memento to the love of my life, Miss Mooney Fronk. Years ago, a friend gifted us a beautiful moon-shaped pet tag engraved with Mooney and little stars. It's become a staple of Mooney's look and remains an all-time favorite gift. And so began. I met with tattoo artist Victoria for a consult. I shared my vision and she expert advice. Victoria followed up with sketch options. I picked my favorite, requested changes, and scheduled an appointment. I was shocked to actually go through with this. On tea day, I invited a friend for emotional support. She aced her role with a gift bag full of Tat Care essentials. We headed to Uncle Nat's Sugaring in Brooklyn where Victoria works. I'm a longtime client of Nat's and was so grateful to be in a space where my anxiety was eased. Post paperwork signing, Victoria confirmed the final sketch, cleaned my skin, placed the stencil on my arm to confirm the desired placement, and got to work. The overall process was quick, easy, and dare I say, painless? No, seriously, I couldn't feel anything thanks to numbing cream. Pain and regret, the two things I feared the most, were long gone. What a relief. Before I knew it, it was time to look. I couldn't believe it. My idea suddenly sprung to life. Mooney's name lovingly on the inside of my arm forever. Second skin was placed over the tat and care instructions reviewed. Crazy how I instantly became cooler and edgier within 45 minutes. Can we get some commotion for the tattoo? Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences before turning 30. A third of the list is complete, which felt like a perfect time to go on a solo, relaxing vacation. Early November, I departed from busy city life to seek slow and peaceful refuge. Something totally different from the preferred cities, beaches, or across the pond vacation spots. A wellness retreat. You know, one of those places where you go to do a bunch of healthy things good for the body and mind. Months of research led me to a retreat in the Northeast that offered diet detox, educational wellness classes, relaxation, body pampering, and wide open spaces for 3.5 days. My stay was dedicated to taking excellent care of myself. Lots of sleep, clean eating, no work, exercising, spending time outside, and only using my phone to occasionally document. It was the type of deep reset I have craved for years. There's one thing I didn't prepare for: loneliness. Don't get me wrong, I love and value solo recharge time, but 4 days in the woods with no familiar faces around was probably too much for an active social city dweller. Would I go to a wellness retreat again? Absolutely. I love the concept and strongly believe in health investments, but I would bring someone along to share the experience with. That's kind of my MO after all. Up next on Bucket List. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series where I attempt 29 new to me experiences before turning 30. Last step ended on a teaser, but I'm saving that mysterious activity to instead share where I'm at with this project. It's been hard to keep Bucket List going lately. The past few months zap me, I'm stuck in a creative lull, and the looming deadline is stressing me out. I'm not even halfway through and I'd turn 30 in 6 weeks, but I'm determined to finish. So I reached for a low stakes fun list challenge, a 2-hour small group tri-pottery session led by an experienced instructor that reviewed most of the pottery basics, tools, techniques, cleaning, and throwing 101. It was the perfect laid-back environment I was looking for to try my hands at pottery. I practiced molding the clay, adding water, and keeping a steady pace on the wheel. Things got weird and messy. My nails took a beating too. Shout out to this space for serving wine. It came in handy for needed breaks. It was a lot of starting over again and again and again and again. I had a few moments of progress. You can see semblances of a cylinder shape here and there. About halfway through, I accepted I wasn't going to master throwing pottery in one class. This craft takes hours of practice and patience. I released the pressure to be good and leaned into the messiness and magic of the art. I hit the wheel a final time before being humbled once again. That didn't take very long. Time was up. I laid my broken clay chunks to rest, cleaned my pottery station, hung up the old apron, and called it a night. I enjoyed and will probably do this again. See you soon.
Here I come.
On this edition of Bucket List, I tripled down on getting outside of my comfort zone. Welcome back. I'm Alyssa, and currently chipping away at a long list of things I've never done before. So far, you've watched me dye my hair blue, run off a mountain, get a tattoo, and other shenanigans, all for the sake of concluding my 20s in a memorable way. Remember when I said I hold the right to modify list ideas? This is one of them. On a Saturday in Brooklyn, I rang my friend Shelby for emotional support, pre-gamed with liquid courage, and headed to Iris in Williamsburg for my appointment. Okay, so this is technically not my first body piercing. She was an iconic earring 90s baby. It is my first adult piercing. Plus, I really went for it with not 1, not 2, but 3 new piercings. While I had no interest in the previously suggested region, I wanted to add to the portfolio. Second holes on each lobe and a cartilage piercing. Truth be told, I wanted more, but 3 at the same time is a tall order. No need to suffer any more than necessary for art. Despite voluntarily getting punctured 3 times, it was a fairly painless process. After waiver signing, the piercer reviewed post-appointment wound care and mapped my piercing locations. I gave my okay, and it was time for the main event. Things have changed since the 90s. Piercing guns are out. But with Shelby's hand and a furry little friend to squeeze, I survived the worst. No pain, no cute ear candy gains. 3 pokes later, and voila! My ears had a little extra bling, and I once again became even more hot and cool.
Got my triple piercings. I'm feeling edgier.
Thanks to the awesome staff at Iris for taking good care of me, Shelby for being there with me, and to you, watching, for your continued support of my Bucket List series. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. Y'all are in for a treat. When this list idea came across my desk, I knew immediately what I wanted to do. A glamorous mother-daughter photo shoot with my Moony girl. You definitely know this genre of portraits. I did them with my mom back in the day, didn't we all? I hired an expert to help with the mission. Brooke Jacobs, local professional pet photographer and proud cat lady. Prepped with high-level equipment and a bag full of mesmerizing cat tchotchkes, Brooke got to work. The vision was simple, refined glamour. A black backdrop, a black ensemble to match my tuxie, and matching baby blue berets that I've patiently held on to, waiting to dazzle. It took a little longer for Moony to really get the vision, but she eventually got there between play breaks, pep talks, and treats. Look, I'm not a mean pet parent. Occasionally annoying, but never cruel. I just wanted pics of Moons and me to capture this special chapter in our life. The second half of the session was solely Moony. I sat standby to help as Brooke worked her magic. Did I mention she has the patience of a saint? Moony was much more photogenic, sans beret, and with a couch to roam. Odd. Shortly after, we wrapped. There were plenty of shots, and we didn't want to overwhelm Model Girl. Days later, Brooke shared the gallery. I was beside myself. Stunning, funny, gorgeous mother-daughter portraits better than I envisioned. So good, Mama made her first holiday card inspired by the shoot. Whether you received one in your mailbox or you're watching it unfold on Bucket List, I hope these pictures spark joy. Happy New Year, friends. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. This one is for the boys, specifically my brothers, who invited me to the driving range while home for the holidays. We, siblings Neff and me, posted up for a fun yet humbling afternoon. I've never tried golf, possibly never even held a club. This counts as golfing for the first time, right?
I think I have what it takes.
Yeah.
I'm athletic. Are you serious? Are you serious? You guys are such dicks.
Michael and John Mark were happy to help me and patient instructors per our agreement. It was a slow start. Making contact was the first hurdle to overcome, but I eventually got there.
It's okay, I whiffed too. Yeah!
And the siblings were actually very supportive. Hate to admit it, but golf is much tougher than it looks.
Help.
And help I found. I let my frustrations cool and took mental notes as my brother swung away. It was time to get down to business. I put the main up and tried again.
Get out of my camera shot.
There were many missed swings. Everything felt so foreign as an active tennis player. But I was determined to make progress. Once the contact was fairly consistent, I tried to pick up the power. The balls were barely making it onto the green. My late father was a talented golfer. I don't think I inherited those genes. And that's all right, because this project isn't about perfection. I tried a new activity that got me on my feet and spent time with family I don't get to see enough.
You did pretty good. You did great.
That's a win to me.
My name's Alyssa. I've never watched the Harry Potter movies or read the books.
Welcome back to the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. 8 movies, 25 hours of film. Here's how I fared.
Harry's cousin sucks.
Oh my god, the scene!
So much plot. 7 more movies.
New character?
Quidditch is so fake.
I do agree that the third is one of the best.
Ron acts circles around Harry. Malfoy is the bully, but he's not even a good one. His insults are lame as hell.
Ew!
These movies are so long. Harry Potter looks too old to be a kid. I like that Harry is always rescued by his friends and loved ones. First cat?
The latter movies really hooked
What
me.
is this? A Marvel movie? This whole time? Butterbeer?
And then it was time for the main event.
Why is Hermione erasing herself? I want to go to a Weasley wedding.
Of course! Never mind!
I'm scared.
Ugly!
Too many people are dying.
Tell the snake!
Not my daughter, you bitch.
Just as it was getting really good, the magic was over.
I completed the Harry Potter series.
And pulled off a chaotic 90-second review. See you next time. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. Full disclosure, I don't recommend anyone follow this messy DIY. I'm merely sharing the experience for Bucket List. I am not a professional. It all started with this plain white bathroom storage shelf. It was in desperate need of new life, so I attempted my hand at tiling. I bought 2 shades of glass tile squares, 1 quart of pre-mixed grout, tile paste adhesive, grouting sponges, and a spreader to get the job done. Was I supposed to sand the furniture beforehand? I don't know, but it was clean, so I got to gluing. And then I realized my spreading tool was MIA. Stressed that the paste would dry quickly, I ripped up some cardboard for a makeshift tool. DIY isn't always pretty. After spreading a nice thick layer, I placed a large slab of connected tile down. If you look closely, you can see a few pieces of tile are missing. I actually cut those out to fill in the gaps with other colors of blue tile purchased. See where I'm going? A little two-tone blue fun? I repeated that process for the entire shelf and then stopped filming because I got so fed up with this project. Grouting is what really did me in. It was so messy. I didn't record because it was impossible to use my hands for both, but I watched a few YouTube tutorials, washed residue away with a grouting sponge, and let her dry. This was the shelf pre-DIY torture and after. Despite the mess it made and time it took, I'm fairly pleased with myself. Up close, it reveals all my struggles, but from a tasteful distance away, she's real cute. Thanks for tuning in. Up next on the bucket list, I traveled somewhere new. Any guesses? Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. Full disclosure, I don't recommend anyone follow this messy DIY. I'm merely sharing the experience for Bucket List. I am not a professional. It all started with this plain white bathroom storage shelf. It was in desperate need of new life, so I attempted my hand at tiling. I bought 2 shades of glass tile squares, 1 quart of pre-mixed grout, tile paste adhesive, grouting sponges, and a spreader to get the job done. Was I supposed to sand the furniture beforehand? I don't know, but it was clean, so I got to gluing. And then I realized my spreading tool was MIA. Stressed that the paste would dry quickly, I ripped up some cardboard for a makeshift tool. DIY isn't always pretty. After spreading a nice thick layer, I placed a large slab of connected tile down. If you look closely, you can see a few pieces of tile are missing. I actually cut those out to fill in the gaps with other colors of blue tile purchased. See where I'm going? A little two-tone blue fun? I repeated that process for the entire shelf and then stopped filming because I got so fed up with this project. Grouting is what really did me in. It was so messy. I didn't record because it was impossible to use my hands for both, but I watched a few YouTube tutorials, washed residue away with a grouting sponge, and let her dry. This was the shelf pre-DIY torture and after. Despite the mess it made and time it took, I'm fairly pleased with myself. Up close, it reveals all my struggles, but from a tasteful distance away, she's real cute. Thanks for tuning in. Up next on the bucket list, I traveled somewhere new. Any guesses? We're currently in the thick of winter.
Look like fun to you.
So let me throw it back to sweet summertime, back to sunshine, pina coladas, exploring historic towns, and meeting memorable characters along the way. Welcome back to the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. Last June, I took an affordable 3-hour direct flight, thank you NYC, to Puerto Rico for my best friend's bachelorette. It was my first time on the island, but I've only heard great things since living amongst a vibrant Puerto Rican community in New York and was super excited to check this one off the list. We stayed at a resort-style hotel but ventured out daily to dine locally and discover San Juan. For evening activities, we stuck to La Placita de Santurce area, which was brimming with cute cocktail bars and clubs. Fun was had, trust. Spending a whole day walking around Old Town San Juan was a personal highlight. I found myself mesmerized by the colorful architecture, striking island views, and friendly locals. History is etched into every cobblestone street, and the pride of Puerto Rico was palpable. Our excursion was spent shopping at markets and soaking up the spirit of San Juan. Coincidentally, this trip fell on the holiday of Dia de San Juan, so we participated in the tradition of taking 3 backwards plunges into the ocean at the stroke of midnight to rid life of negativity. It was really special to do this alongside locals and other tourists. Not sure if it worked, but life has felt more positive since starting this project and experiencing so many new things. I don't miss the iguanas, but I got nothing but love for Puerto Rico. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new-to-me experiences before turning 30. There were many directions I could have gone with this one. Indoor skydiving felt right. I paid the new iFly facility in Queens a visit with my dear friend Andrew, who you may recognize from earlier in the series. Footage is limited due to strict phone rules, but mama sprung for the video package. I took my geared up red marshmallow ass and leapt into the giant wind tube, obviously screaming the entire time and hoping for the best. The other instructor took over as the force propelled me up, ready for the high fly.
I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on
Around and around I spun. Time flew by. The first fly session was over, with exit footage waiting to keep me down to earth forever. Yeah. And then this wide load played for round 2. The humiliation does not end there. The high fly instructor took their position and wrangled me like a bull for what felt like 47 seconds until we were finally ascending together. After a generous 12 seconds, it was time to head home. Was it fun? Hell yeah. Harder than it looks and a bit skimpy with airborne time, but 100% worth it for the footage alone. See you next time. Hitting 20 on Bucket List called for something unforgettable. Welcome back to the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences before turning 30. It all started with booking a private beginner class with Bridget at Full Circle in Brooklyn. My friend Ashley came along too. Post warm-up, we met our new best friends, rubbing alcohol and pole grip. A horrible accident would have ensued for my clammy-headed self without it, no doubt. First, we learned the basics of pole, count steps and turns. Then we incorporated movements practiced during stretching. It felt so foreign to my beautiful, yet awkward, God-given body. Did I mention Ashley's a natural? Clearly. Next, we worked on spins, which I found terrifying. Although I was trying to gracefully shift my weight around the pole, unfortunately, the footage here is actually giving a car safety rating being tested. Lots of crashing. Nonetheless, she persisted and chalked up those sweaty paws. Here's my hot and cool friend Ashley immediately grasping the pole swivel, and me fighting for my life. I'm such drama, but I kept at it, and I do think I got a little better. Before I knew it, we had a whole choreographed routine in place. This is us putting it all together. Are you impressed? Not only was this uniquely humbling, but wow, was it physically intense. Pole dancing is a goddamn sport as far as I'm concerned. And this is how it's done, folks. Shout out to our incredible instructor, Bridget, a 10-year vet to the craft. She is so fun and easily one of the best instructors I've ever worked with.
We did it.
That concludes my first pole dancing class. Please be nice to me, internet. Thanks and see you soon. On this edition of Bucket List,
I was wondering if you would like to. Okay! Yeah! Hey, girl!
welcome back to the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences before turning 30. I recently hit Manhattan with my bud Ryan to see if any New Yorkers had advice for a soon-to-be 30-year-old. Here's what they said.
All downhill from there.
Aw.
That's my thing.
Any advice for a newly 30-year-old?
Just take every day as it comes.
Simple, straightforward. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, don't mention.
Just take risks.
Eat good food.
Like experiment.
No, don't experiment. That should be done by your 30.
Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 23.
You gotta stay young at heart.
You look young in heart to me.
You look young at heart as well.
Thank you. Have any advice?
I'm supposed to be 29 tomorrow, so I don't actually.
Happy early birthday.
Stay calm. Don't necessarily be open to everything, but be open to what makes you comfortable.
Live with no regrets. To be happy, always. Every day, every moment. This is the only reason we're here.
One day when you sit down, when you hit 40, you're going to sit down and wonder how time flies. You better live it up.
Live it up.
Live it up!
Like you are out here, right?
Live the birds.
Say yes to more things instead of no.
Sure. Get married
Okay.
and have kids. No one goes under deathbed and said, I had too many kids.
For every door that you open or every glass ceiling you break, make sure you keep it open for the woman behind you. In a world of infinite questions, the answer is always love. So whenever you have a question about something like, what should I do about this? This person's bothering me. Answer in a way that provides love. I can work with that.
Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s. It's true. I'm the last white woman living in New York to have never taken a yoga class. Luckily, my gym offers a variety, and despite the strict no phone policy, they graciously let me film so long as I didn't bother anyone else. So please excuse the low studio lighting and take this list app for what it is, a woman trying her best. The first 10 minutes were spent waking up my flexibility while anxiously surveying the room to see if my poses were correct. I felt intimidated amongst the long, lean, flexible people in their matching exercise sets, but I kept reminding myself why I was there, to relax the mind, stretch the body, and try something new. Soapbox moment. You know, Bucket List has challenged me to examine aversions I've stubbornly held on to. Yoga was one of them. I didn't think I was a yoga type of person, whatever that means. Thankfully, as I age, I feel perfectionism, limiting beliefs, and the weight of other people's thoughts slipping away. Surrendering to new experiences has brought joy, confidence, and needed mid growth. But girl, please, I'm still human and was plenty awkward. Maybe I took 4 breaks. Perhaps a fart or 2 escaped me. Sorry. At least I was in the corner away from others and trying my best. Yoga is harder than it looks, but definitely doable for most. Not to get too political, but we really need to stretch our bodies more. Like every damn day. Class concluded in child's pose, deep breaths, hands over heart, and a meditative state. I did it. My body felt good. Probably the best stretch the old girl has got in years. Ooh, welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s.
Attempting snowboarding for the first time today. I've heard awful things about learning.
Earlier this year, I joined my brothers at Beach Mountain in North Carolina to try snowboarding for the first time. Shout out to my brother-in-law for helping me corral the correct gear. The other bros just wanted to watch me eat shit. They'll enjoy this. On the bunny slope, I met my instructor, where he jumped right into the basics. First, we booted up. He had me scoot around to acquaint myself with the board, and then I learned to climb. Once I climbed up the hill, I attempted my first ride. I was scared to lose control of the board or get hurt, which is LOL hilarious now that I can see how slow my overly geared up ass was going.
Everything is burning. Not used to boots.
No, really, everything was burning. I felt muscles I didn't even know I had. Nevertheless, she climbed, fell, got back up over and over again. Leaving this lesson with no progress to show? Not an option.
Mountain's favorite thing to do is to humble.
So true, Reed. The homie gave me an amazing pep talk and your girl was back at it. I tried run after run.
Yes, awesome.
And did my best to trust the board. Let it be known, I spent a lot of time struggling to get back up. The bod was losing steam, my determination was not. Good news, my bounce was kicking in. Bad news, speed makes me nervous. In the final minutes of the lesson, a miracle occurred. I successfully mounted and rode down the slope in true Alyssa fashion while steering clear of others. I did it! Thanks, Reed, for helping me go pro.
I'm eating everything they put in front of me.
Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s. Despite transportation woes, I made it to my first fine dining experience at Michelin star rated Yakitori Torishin, joined by my dear friend Elizabeth. TBH, I was inspired by this guy from a few eps back. We sprung for a chef's counter dinner featuring 15 small plates from a fixed menu. Chef served shiitake truffle rice porridge, red sea bream, squid with ginger soy sauce, loved, chicken breast with tofu skin,
Onions are good.
chicken skewer with bonito intestine and soy. I was okay with this chewy delicacy. Elizabeth, on the other hand, wasn't too sure. I believe this one was a chicken neck skewer with spices, as told by these shimmies. We were both into it. A few palate cleansers in between. A pork skewer with delicious green sauce that is escaping my brain at the moment. Shiitake mushrooms. A chicken oyster skewer. All of the meat served at Torishin is fresh and organic. Grilled zucchini. That had life flashing before my eyes. Spanish pork and onions.
Oh my god.
Seaweed gelatin salad. Fun fact, I hate gelatin, so I really struggled with this one. Another tasty chicken skewer. Their specialty is chicken if you're not catching on.
I like it all. Who am I kidding?
A chicken and dulce meatball, which was easily a favorite. Chicken thigh and egg over rice, Japanese strawberries, and one of my favorites, matcha ice cream.
Do you ever think to yourself, I can cook, and then you come somewhere like here and you're like, I can't. I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen.
Overall, I was blown away by the experience. Price point was moderate for fine dining, but worth the splurge for a culinary treat. Welcome back to the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s. Your girl played the long game on this one. Let's rewind. When I was 5, I started piano lessons, but quit by 11. I've rarely played since. As of a couple months ago, I couldn't read sheet music or recall a single song to play from memory. I had forgotten piano. And then I took up lessons, starting from the very beginning. Miraculously, the brain responded. 6 years of muscle memory slowly trickled in. It was a welcome shock. With the help of my teacher, piano legend Sayaka Hiroshige, I steamed through units with ease. Fun fact, she's married to Coach Omar. Talk about a power couple. We met weekly, I practiced often, filming occasionally. Relearning piano became a refreshing yet rewarding hobby. It allowed me to gently disconnect while nourishing my creativity.
F, E, D, E, 1 and 2 and 3 and.
Yes, that's right.
What a gift this series has become. Ooh, welcome back.
Hold on.
To to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s. The neighbor girlinas collaborated, aka rightfully called me out for not visiting little Caribbean gems like Trinidadian spot Dahapa. Anaya did the ordering so I wouldn't embarrass her, but I was grateful for her expertise. One thing about us girlies when we get together, it's always a feast.
Start with a double. First, I'm gonna be trying a traditional.
double.
I struggle with messy food. With all the respect in my heart, it tastes better than it looks, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Next up, I'm gonna try some roti. Solid. I'm gonna put some shrimp chana potato. Shrimp chana potato on the roti. I hope I wanna do this. Oh, it's so much. I haven't tried enough Caribbean food in my lifetime yet, and I need to make up for lost time. This reminds me, honestly, of Indian food. It's not the same. Cousins. I'm trying some mashup. It's more fluffy. Ooh. I'm gonna put some goat. Ooh, it's nicely spiced. It has a little kick to it. Surprised by how into the goat I am. I think I like it better than roti, so I'm trying kurma, which is kind of like a snack and a treat. What are you supposed to do? Like, just suck on it?
No, bite it.
Might have to pass on this. Overall, it's pretty good. Not too greasy, not too salty, packed with flavor, really well seasoned. 8 out of 10 for me.
Thank you to the girlians for being excellent guides, amazing company, and sharing their culture with me. Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s. This one is for my grandma, Miss Marjorie Fronk, an art-loving widowed mama 3 who discovered her talents for watercolor painting in her 70s. She passionately pursued the craft until she passed at 97. I frequently find myself looking for ways to honor her memory, which is how I ended up at a beginner's watercolor workshop. Producing Bucket List felt like the right time to revisit my strained relationship with painting. I've always said I didn't get the paint gene and went to my sister Jonna instead, who is a natural. Of course I've tried, but it's never clicked, especially watercolor, which I found infuriating. My previous attempts were sloppy beginner abstract at best. It's taken nearly 30 years to realize the issue. A lesson revealed over and over. It's all about the mindset. I have a long history of attempting challenging things with a defeatist attitude if I'm not good at it quickly. Spoiler, expecting a bad outcome usually results in one. And so, for the 27th time this series, I released the pressure to produce perfection. Figuring out the water to paint ratio wasn't as daunting. The teacher relayed helpful techniques, and I didn't try to control the paint. It started to click. My relationship with watercolor painting has completely transformed, and I'm bringing it into my 30s.
Happy birthday!
Welcome back to Bucket List, the series documenting my quest to complete 29 new to me experiences in honor of closing out my 20s. On January 27th, I turned 30 and threw a big fat goth prom to celebrate. You may recall the first grom I threw for my 24th in North Carolina many moons ago. My friends have begged me to bring it back ever since, and so I patiently waited, planned, and schemed. Here's how Grom 3.0 went down. Grom was hosted at Crystal Lake Bar in Brooklyn. There was a gorgeous Grom portrait area for guests, a graveyard for my 20s, each headstone shared reflections and gentle roasts. Gothic pop culture moments and icons decorated the walls, a tattoo station which was a big hit, lots of black balloons, skulls, a black cake, and custom lighters for party favors. What really made Grom were all the amazing guests who showed up and out with their goth looks. Creativity unmatched. I giggled the whole night at how insane and awesome everyone looked. The turnout blew me away. My beloved NC crew came through, and many long-distance friends who took planes and trains to celebrate cut to me ugly crying and sobbing. Grom was a blur of tats, chats, and dancing. It went by much too quickly, but damn, was it a hell of a night. It's not lost on me for a second how fortunate I am to be able to celebrate milestones with a community of people who love me. I'm the luckiest, most grateful, swear. From the bottom of my emo heart, thanks to everyone who came to Grom and to you for following along on this bucket list journey over the past year. It's been a transformative, wild ride. I'm officially in my 30s and thrilled for what's next. Over the past year, you've watched me tackle 28 new to me experiences on Bucket List. Let's rewind. I went to a concert by myself, dyed my hair blue, went paragliding over the Alps, treated my inner child to a Joe Bro concert, survived my first visit to Fire Island, did a little too much damage at a break room, hosted a dinner party, explored my ancestry, tried archery, got my first tattoo, took my first solo vacation, threw pottery on the wheel, got a few adult piercings, had a purely fun photo shoot, tried my arm at golf, finally watched all the Harry Potter movies, completed my first DIY project, traveled to Puerto Rico, went indoor skydiving just to feel alive, took a pole dancing class, asked random New Yorkers for advice, tried yoga, attempted snowboarding, treated myself to fine dining, relearned piano, ate Trinidadian food, learned to watercolor paint, and celebrated my 30th by throwing a Grom in New York City. This last year of my 20s has been unforgettable. I had too much fun, made amazing memories, pushed myself way outside my comfort zone, and examined blocks that kept me from going for it. Wasn't sure if I'd make it at times, but I'm proud to conclude this series by tackling my final bucket list inspired endeavor. My new pod show, Let Me Be Fronk, launches this April. More to come, but follow Let Me Be Fronk on all major platforms to stay in the loop. Again, thank you so much for following along on this series. It means more to me than you know. See y'all soon.